Hey everyone, it's Ace. Welcome back to another video. The next Battlefield playtest seems to be happening on the 9th of May next week. We're also gonna go more into detail why Battlefield probably should release this year and so much more into this video. If you're new here, hey hello, my name is Ace. I post 2 to 3 Battlefield this week and I play every Battlefield game that is available to me until Battlefield 6 releases. BF3, BF4, BF5, every Battlefield that I can play as I'm active. If this is something that you enjoy, then please consider leaving a like, subscription and comment for future content. I really upload a ton of Battlefield related content. The leak about the playtest comes from Telegram channel that has been leaking other things about Battlefield 6 and from the Battlefield 2043 Discord. These are data miners Discords, and so far they've been proven correct about some things. So take it as you will. But what do you actually have to do to get into the 9th of May playtest? Well, first, assuming you already registered for Battlefield Labs back in May, and I'm pretty sure you can still register if you haven't registered in May, you will receive an email that will look something like this. Now, what do you have to do when you get the email? First, you will have to fill in a survey. But before you do any of that things, you have to also check your spam folder, because some of the friends of mine who were invited for Battlefield Labs actually received their invitation that went directly into the spam folder. So you have to really check your spam folders daily to check if you were invited. Additionally, you might have questions. Wait, but can I also be invited on the actual test day? So on the 9th of May, let's say you wake up. Yes, there can be an email waiting for you even on the test day that they're going to be playing the next Battlefield Labs playtest. So please keep that in mind. Additionally, after you fill in the survey, after they send you the email, you will also need a Discord account, because there is obviously a Discord for Battlefield Labs where all of the playtesters are bunched up together. This is where we get all the leaks about the game from people who are talking about the game in that Discord. So you will also require to be on Discord. Do you have to be on voice chat when you're playing the game? I don't think so, but I think you do have to be on Discord with your username that is your EINM. So I'm just giving you a heads up how this process works. So keep that in mind. Now, what are they actually going to be testing in the playtest this Friday on the 9th of May? I'll let you know they're going to be testing a new map called Aftermath. Yes, like the DLC of Battlefield 3. Is it going to be like that? We don't know. There is concept arts available for that map, or we assume that's the concept of that map. You can find those online as well. I'm sure you have seen all of the Battlefield 6 concept art, and this is what they will be testing. We don't know yet what game mode they will be testing. What we know for sure is that in the previous playtest, as we heard from the leaks, they have been testing Conquest and Domination. And in my honest opinion, I think it's time that we hear something about how Breakthrough and some of the other modes like Rush, maybe Deathmatch, Domination, and some of these other core modes that keep Battlefield together play in Battlefield 6. Breakthrough, for example, is my favorite game mode since Battlefield 1, or Operations. It has multiple names, but it's attacking sectors, right? It's just a glorified Rush, let's call it that. I would really love to see how it plays with the vehicles in the mix, with, massive 64 player battles, and so on. On top of that, obviously the map is going to be interesting, the map which is called Aftermath as the legendary Battlefield 3 DLC. How this plays. Is this going to be similar to the actual DLC? Are we going to get Epicenter, Azadi Palace, and all the great infantry maps? Honestly, the Battlefield 3 Aftermath maps, and for my subs who have been here for a while, you've seen many Aftermath maps I have been playing in my Battlefield 3. There's been Talamarca, there's been Azadi Palaces, there's been almost every map. Epicenter has been there, Marcus Monolith. Can you imagine if they actually bring out maps that were in style of, let's say, Marcus Monolith in Battlefield 6? I really truly believe that will blow away people's minds today how good that DLC was when it comes just to pure infantry on infantry combat, with vehicles also being there, of course, but they're not as oppressive, in my opinion, as they were, for example, in Battlefield 3 Vanilla. It's not the same playing Aftermath Marcus Monolith as it is playing, I don't know, Caspian Border, where you're getting barraged by air vehicles at all times as infantry. No, this is a bit more subtle. It's better, I think. It's been refined. I always considered the Aftermath DLC, as a person who has 3,000 hours in Battlefield 3 and won over 10 tournaments in that game, that the Aftermath DLC was the remaster of Battlefield 3. Hey, let's look at the balance between infantry and vehicles and make it better, make it more fun for the poor guys on the ground without hindering the vehicles too much so they don't feel worthless. And they really achieved that with Aftermath. In my yesterday's video, I went over the topic of how the delay of Ground 2006 is a pretty big opportunity for Battlefield 6 to launch this fall 2025. And many of you came into the game's defense telling me that the game should take as much time as it needs to develop so we truly get a high quality Battlefield product. And you know what? I really value your opinion. It's a very good opinion and it's probably the correct way moving forward. However, in my humble opinion, and I think people really seem to forget that detail about Battlefield 6 because it has been so long since we have received a new Battlefield game. They actually already delayed Battlefield 6 for 1 year last year. It was supposed to come out last year, November. That date is obviously very past due, but that was the actual, date that we usually get a Battlefield game every 2 to 3 years. We are way past the date. In fact, Battlefield 2042, the worst arguably, or not arguably, actually, everybody agrees on, the worst Battlefield experience we have ever received is actually going to be one of the longest running modern Battlefield games. And I really truly believe that that is actually criminal. It is disgusting. So, should Battlefield 6 release fall 2025? I truly stand by the opinion that it should. And here's why. First, Battlefield 6 has been in development for now almost 4 years. And I believe that if in 4 years' time they haven't figured out how to make a good Battlefield game, then I truly believe they never will. And a couple months delay from November to March to May 2026 or beyond will truly not help the game if the fundamentals in those 4 years have not been sorted. And I really hate being portrayed in that fashion as somebody who is a negative Nancy about Battlefield 6 because I'm really, really optimistic about the game. But we have to face the reality of game development, and the small delays will not help the game if those 4 years have went to waste. Fortunately for us, or luckily for us, since we have already seen the footage of the early product, and we can all agree that the early product looks way better than Battlefield 5, and it looks way better than Battlefield 2042. Do we have much reason for concern about them developing a product that is worse than Battlefield 2042? I don't think so. I think we can all agree already, at least in my opinion, the game we have seen on all the leaks is better than the game you are seeing on the screen right now, and it is better than Battlefield 2042. There's another very valid argument that if Battlefield 6 was to release fall 2025, the DICE would now slack off because there's no competition for the game. We already know the Call of Duty is gonna suck next year, and there is no other competition. GTA 6 is out of the equation, right? And now they're gonna slack off and release a very low quality product like Battlefield 2042. That is the argument, and I agree with it. Competition is very, very healthy for everything in life. However, there's one big however, is that we just heard recently, or a couple days ago, that Titanfall 3, a extraction shooter set in a Titanfall universe, was axed by EA, and they fired hundreds of developers of that game. These are colleagues of DICE, which work at EA, and they just saw all their colleagues get axed and the whole game gets cancelled. I'm pretty sure if you're a DICE developer and you see your colleagues disappear like that overnight, like poof, overnight, they're probably not thinking about slacking off with Battlefield 6. Because if they're gonna do this to, Titanfall and Respawn, which has a very successful game like Apex Legends, I'm pretty sure they have no problems doing this to DICE as well. And maybe it was a warning for DICE, hey guys, we really need to keep it up because, yeah, it's the last chance, guys. This really is the last chance for Battlefield 6. But those few months that everybody's thinking about from November to March, these 3 to 4 months, are not gonna fix whatever glaring issues the game might have. However, since those Titanfall developers are now gone, and I'm sure many of them stood as well, might have been now redistributed on Battlefield 6 to help DICE, Criterion, and the other Battlefield Studios motive to polish up the game and the experience where it needs help. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a comment for the algorithm, and if you're new here, subscribe because I post a lot of Battlefield content. I wish you a very good weekend, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Bye bye.